weather, I might have the blues, but nothing ever stopped me from dusting off my shoes. You might think you'll see me falling to the ground, but I threw up my umbrella when rain starts hitting down. Yeah! On a bad day, on a good day, I don't need no sunshine.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night, whatever the hell it is. Wherever you are, hope you've got a drink. I've got a coffee. My guest has got, actually, I don't know what he's drinking. I might even say beer because he's from another part of the world. It's probably evening, and it's probably one of those thick beers that are probably even bloody warm. We didn't even discuss that, so he's probably going to give me an earful when I actually bring him on. It is Saturday. What is it? It's 27th of November here in sunny old Kahuna, Victoria in Australia. It's the skies are finally clearing up a bit, so I might be able to actually get out there and take some photos at nighttime of stars rather than just little gaps in clouds of stars. Pretty big weeks happening here. We've had a heap of new members come on. We've got it's the week of Adrian's. Adrian K, Adrian C, and Adrian T. Welcome to the channel. Michelle, Yami 1, Yami 1, Yami number 1, and Brendan L. You guys are all joined up in the membership in the last couple of weeks, and I really do appreciate the support. If you not knowing what a member is, well, down somewhere there, there's a little join button there, and what you're going to get is some behind the scenes content. I'm actually David Addison, I don't know if he's in here yet. He has some memberships on his channel, and what he does is he does some like bloopers reels and stuff like that. So I've taken some inspiration from that, and I've started putting together as I film videos, and I kind of screw up and I start talking and then go, oh, that doesn't make sense, and you might even drop a few F-bombs and stuff in there, and you don't see them in the regular video. But I've started saving those things so you can see. And as I watch them myself, I think that's a pisser. That's you're a bloody idiot, Mozzie. Mozzie's my old army nickname, by the way. That's what people call me here. And also you get all the presets over there on phonephotoschool.com.au, or all the presets that you get for free. Where else are we up to? We are up to, geez, how many have we got? 47,000, I reckon, subscribers. So there's 3,000 until we give away a phone. So I'm expecting that to be happening before the 18th of December, which is when we've got a big live stream on here. We've got a few guests from past, mainly phone guys, phone photography guys and tutorial guys, and we'll tell you more about that soon. But I'm pretty bloody excited about that one. Who we got in here this morning? Scott Baker, TikTok. You're just going to have to wait, sunshine. We get there when we get there. It's getting towards the end of the year, and I'm in holiday mode. Mark Goyne got new glasses. Oh, I had them. I've had these on here before, I think. Well, I probably had them about a month, I suppose. Hey, Mike from Smartphone Photography Training. I don't know if you guys saw. I put a photo on. Did I put it on the channel or just put it on the Facebook group over there at Bloody Legends photography group on Facebook? I actually went down to see Mike. He's about, I think, about 3 hours from me, Mike. I think it was like three and a half hours, something like that, drive time away from where I am here, and. It was so good in the YouTube community. We don't really get to see each other very often besides this way, and it was so good to actually meet up with Mike in person. It's a weird thing. He opened the door of his house and I'm like, wow, you're tall. I had no idea. He was actually quite a tall guy. Anyway, who else we got here? John Spink. I don't think I've seen you before, John. G'day. Jason Stevenson, Lex. All right, which phone are you giving away? An iPhone? No, I love my iPhones. I'm just going to give them away. You'll see in about, I reckon it's going to be about 3 weeks. It's going to be out of schedule live stream, I think, but we'll promote that one very, very shortly. Today's guest is someone that, if you're only in the mobile phone sort of community on YouTube and stuff, you may not know who he is. If you're a YouTube creator, you probably do know who he is. I'll tell you that when I started my YouTube channel, I'm a very analytical sort of a person. So when I look to do something, I research the absolute bejesus out of something before I go ahead and do it, or go ahead and put money down. And when it comes to things like this camera right here, now that I can, like, what can I show you? I can show you the lens cover there. See how that focuses like that? That was so important to me to be able to get that. And this guy was the reason I actually bought this camera. He was the reason. You should have put like affiliate links or something, because did I even buy it through an affiliate link? I can't remember. But it's like when people say, "Oh, I just bought an iPhone because of what you said, Shane." And it's like, damn it, I wish I got paid on that. Anyway, today's guest is from sunny old Ireland, Mr. Vic Barry. I'm pretty sure he's drinking.
No, I'm just drinking it. It's to completely not play into this. Completely not play into the stereotype. It's not beer. It's not alcohol.
It's not.
No, it's not. It's bog water. No, it's not.
Are you even Irish or what?
Yeah, dude, it's like 7:10 p.m. here. I've done my drinking since this morning, so yeah, we're on the dry today.
How are you, man?
I'm very good, Shane. How are you? And hi to everybody that's there. You know, can I just start right by just noticing what an awesome community you have, and I'm not just playing to the crowd. I was just reading the comments there. Did you get new glasses? It's great to see folks that come regularly, and like community is such an important thing, and it's awesome to see folks out there doing that. So yeah, that's my start. So hey, what's going on?
It's a. I've said this so many times, and I every time I get a chance to say it, I generally just say it. It's the community that we have. YouTube for me, because I live really, really remotely. I live a long way from anyone, and it's kind of cool. But in when it comes to this sort of thing, because I generally don't like people, but this here is a very lonely existence for someone who is remote and doing something as niche as YouTube. So I'll go and talk to people in town, and they'll say, "How do you make money on YouTube?" And surely it's not that bloody hard. And they just don't quite get it. My wife gets it. She'll say, "Oh, he's in there working in this room here, doing videos, and out there shooting videos," and she gets it. It's when we finally started building the community, it just made it all worth it. It doesn't feel like work anymore because of what you just said. Like it's a very good community. I think we've got, I don't know, probably 1,000 or so in the YouTube channel, in the Facebook group, and I don't know if you belong to any Facebook groups that do photography. They're usually a bit catty, as in you only got that camera, you only got that photo because you got that camera. You spent. There's none of that there, and we're talking about polarizing things like iPhone versus Android and stuff like that, and no one. It's always very respectful. It's such a good community to belong to. Yeah. Who else we got in here? Scott. Technically speaking, Scott is somebody who he has a YouTube channel over there. Technically speaking, he does a lot of reviews and stuff on tech, and he speaks about it. Good name. And he'll actually come on the show here when you know Scott, do you?
No, I don't, but I'm just pretending I do. That's the Irish thing in it. Look, we know everybody, because do you know what? If you meet somebody, you're from Ireland, do you know the O'Shaughnessy's there? And I'm like, yeah, we do, yeah. So I'm just a friendly Irishman, that's all.
I tell you, when I was still in the army many years ago, you'd see people. They go, "Oh, you're in the army. Oh, you must know my brother Dave." Yeah. Has he got short hair? Does he wear a camouflage uniform? Yeah, I know him. Same thing, same sort of thing. So Scott will actually come on here. We're just trying to work out a time that we're all busy people. So he'll come on here soon enough. I think he'll bring a lot of. He's a Google fan, as in the pixels and stuff like that. So it'll be a nice balance to bring to the community, because we've got a lot of pixel people in here, and I'm an iPhone person. But we have this, but there still hasn't been a SIM card put in it. That's how much I love it. But I'm just an iPhone person. Like, it's all Mac stuff.
So see, I feel I've won the crowd over with my comedic entrance and referencing Scott by name. I'm not going to cause chaos now by saying which phone I shoot on just yet. I'll just leave it going out of it.
Oh, it's one of the questions. Don't worry. Prepare to polarize the audience.
I'm Irish, so you know that's going for me.
Yeah. So, as all the guests that come on here, tell us who Vic Barry is in a tweet, 140 characters.
How many words is 140 characters?
I don't know. Some people just dribble on for ages, and some people do it really analytically, and we end up just talking about shit anyway. So,
okay,
go for it.
So Vic Barry is 140 characters. Holy crap! I wish you gave me this kind of heads up beforehand, like a week, so I could write something kind of cohesive.
I gave you a heads up. I told you about it just a few minutes ago.
Yeah, that's plenty of time, dude. Vic Barry is going to be polarizing the audience. No, Vic Barry is a creative video director in the real world professionally. I make a whole bunch of YouTube videos on editing, story, cameras, that kind of thing. I have 2 kids and a wife, and that is it. And I'm not the stereotypical Irish person. I've gone past 140 characters, but yeah. Will that do?
Well, that will do. That will do.
I mean, I could have gone on for an hour.
I know you could. I see your family in videos from time to time. I think it's quite cool that you incorporate them into your content. It makes it real. It's
so like when I started out, Scott, I started out. People are like, oh, here we go. Here's the long backstory that will go on for 4 days. When I started out, I was like, I want to make family videos, get the kids in, everybody's excited. And I did that for a while, and it, you know, just being inspired by the likes of Roman Atwood and all of these folks. And it just, it wasn't me, essentially. So my expertise is always laid in video. And like I've initially a media background. I was a commercial talk show host on Irish radio for over a decade. So eventually, and it was actually the Sony ZV-1 started spinning the wheels for him, like, okay, I'm finding my voice, because you know, I've seen a comment there from somebody that, you know, they're making YouTube videos for a while and they're still only at 80 subscribers. It takes time to find where you're actually going, and once you find some direction, it's really good. So yeah. So and I still, there's still part of me wants to get the family in there, you know. So like the kids are like, we don't have to go shoot a video today, Dad, do we? I'm like, it's going to be 4K, 120 frames per second on this GoPro. It's going to look amazing. Shut up and get into the car.
And you can see, I see some of the videos where I remember one that I watched. Your kids are sitting on the lounge, I think, on your couch, and they're like sleeping while your videos.
People think that was for like. Yeah, that was legit. That was real. That wasn't me trying to pretend to be asleep, kids. There were like passed out.
Yeah, it's cool. It's one of those things that finding that thing that kicks you off. Like this camera. This is the ZV-1. This is what we're talking about, and it's my background as a photographer. So all the cameras that I had when I started this, well, it's more than what many others would have, but they're certainly not video centric cameras. Like they're all shooting like 1080p. There's nothing. I shoot 4K. I only ever upload in 1080p. I just use it to crop when I want to crop it, sort of thing. But going to this was the first Sony camera that I had, and now I've got that one. Did that work? It did work. Look at that. See that one there? And I've actually churned over my photography gear now to A7s, and it's bloody hell, it's good gear. It's so good gear. It's bloody expensive, but it's really good. It makes the on-site work that I do with photography just so much easier. It just does. I really enjoy it.
Yeah, like I was a Canon fan for a long time. Back in the kind of the radio days, I used to do photography as well as a hobby. Canon, and I changed to Sony with the Sony RX100 Mark V because I had a Canon, and like the autofocus wasn't great. I think it was a 600D. It was awful in low light, and I just need something better. And these were for these crappy family vlogs, which are now just good memories for us to have. And I just like the look of the Sony, and I like the color science, and the autofocus and the Sony stuff is really, really good. And you're right, like it does cost a lot of money. You know, country, not all of us get free cameras all the time. You know, not from Sony anyway. I'm completely, it's a complete Sony house now. Like, so ZV-1 is the one that I kind of bring out and about. What this is on right now is the Sony ZV-E10. There's an RX100 Mark V up there somewhere. And then my main kind of studio camera that I use to shoot all the videos over the last while is a Sony FX3, part of their cinema line. So yeah, Sony stuff is genuinely good. You know, I've worked with Sony because of those Sony ZV-1 videos. I did a couple of webinars with them, and they asked me to make some content.
Oh, okay.
They still didn't give me any free cameras, but it's just interesting. Like, and it's very divisive. It's like the iPhone and Android stuff. Look, at the end of the day, if you're a purist, you will know probably, that's S-Cinetone on that. Yeah, that's definitely a Sony camera. Or you might know from the softness of a Canon. But ultimately, these cameras only allow you to tell the story. And the people who are real purists trying to identify, hey, that's not a Sony, whatever. They don't care about story anyway, you know. And that's what it is at the end of the day. Doesn't matter what kind of content you're making.
Yep, I 100% agree with that. And it's the same thing with phones. I look at photos and because I obviously do a lot of stuff with low light here, I look at photos and I go, that was taken with that. But that's going on in the back of my head. In the front, my first thoughts are that's a ripper photo. And it doesn't really matter what it's on. It really doesn't.
100%.
Yeah, it's I teach photography to a local photography group here in my town. Actually, we're about to kick off again this week coming, and it doesn't matter what they have. Like some absolutely incredible photographers in there have got the absolute entry level DSLRs, and I know people with the A7s as well, and that's not a good photo, man. It's like you can't polish a turd. And some of the there's one lady in the photography group that I teach. She's got an absolute entry-level Canon camera. She doesn't even own a computer to edit, and her photos are just amazing. It's like next level stuff, just in that storytelling, in the techniques, and in the storytelling that you have. And that's what makes the creator. It's not the gear. The gear just makes it a little bit easier to do what into your life, sort of thing. Yeah, that's how I look at it anyway.
No, I agree, dude. Like, the gear don't tell the story. That's it. Gear don't tell the story.
Yeah. We didn't talk to each other about hats.
Stop lying, man. Stop lying. You wear the black hat, and I wear my black hat. We wear headphones.
You need to grow this a bit more.
T-shirt. Yeah,
that's
I'm not giving up, man. I've got more hair in my back than my head, but anyway.
This here, where is it? This one here. I wear these shirts a fair bit in my videos. This one is there are that many causes that are around the world. Like give money to this cause and give money to that cause, and save the blue orangutan from the desert island and stuff like that. There's so many different things that you can give money to. This one here is the Pineapple Express. This is a veteran community here in Australia. So they raise money for suicide prevention and that sort of thing around the veteran community. So I don't know. There's so many things that I look at and go, why on earth are they promoting that? That's got nothing to do with yada, yada, yada. And I generally don't promote any causes or anything like that here on this channel. I just don't. But that's something that's touched me. So I just kind of push it out. So it's not a plain black T-shirt, but you got no logo on that one, do you?
No, like this is the standard YouTube uniform, black T-shirt, black hat, blue light, pink light, green light. That's kind of how it works, man.
I couldn't decide the light, so it's just changing as we go through things.
Like I used to wear all kinds of T-shirts, but I was like, no, just stick with the black. It's not going to offend anybody. So let's stick with black.
With the commercial photography, do all the wedding stuff and things like that. I used to go, oh, what do I wear? What are they going to be? What sort of event is this one? And a photography friend of mine, he turned up here one day and he's got these black polo shirts with his logo written on the front. And I went, that's the solution. So everything I do now, commercial work, is the black polo shirt with my logo. And if I go to a wedding and I'll talk to the couple before, they're like, I'm wearing a polo shirt. You know, it's a suit and tie thing. That's sweet. I'm not in your photos. I'm taking them. So don't worry. That's the way it works. So we've already covered some of the questions here. What phone do you use?
iPhone 13 Pro. Sorry to start polarizing everybody, but iPhone 13 Pro is what I've since the iPhone 5, I think, or yeah, but with the iPhone 5, I've always kind of changed up the phone. I didn't switch for the 12. I went from the 11 to the 13, and I like it. It's really good in low light, actually. So
yeah, it really is. I wasn't. When the 13 came out, I had the 12 Pro Max before, and I looked at all the specs of the 13 Pro Max, and I kind of went, I'm not going to buy that. That's because I'll go and buy the phones to put on here, and I'll do some content, then I'll go ahead and sell them. But the 13 from the 12, the Pro Maxes of the two, to me, it didn't really seem like it was warranted to do it. And I basically got it just for content. I went and bought it just so I could create a few videos, and it is significantly better in low light than what the 12 was. And that's really saying something for the iPhones. iPhones have never been that great in low light, but the 12 is pretty good. The 13 is it's a bloody ripper. It's really, really impressive.
Yeah, totally.
You're not polarizing.
Thanks, Lex. give me another few minutes.
iPhone gang in the house. So what would be, if you had to pick 3 apps on your phone that were your go-to apps all the time? Doesn't matter what they are. What would they be?
Okay. I'll be predictable and say Lightroom, YouTube Studio, and I'm just scanning through here, see what I use quite a bit. Audible, Audible or Pocket Cast, really close tie, but definitely an audio app.
What's Pocket
without
Cast?
doubt, Pocket Cast is just like a podcast thing. So
okay.
Yep. So that's the 3 I'd use.
Yep, I'll listen to podcasts on Spotify. They generally get most things. If I get sick of listening to someone, I can put music on. Yeah. Totally. So YouTube Studio, that's fair. That's pretty much where.
And I'm not one of these people that's constantly like checking the analytics every 10 seconds. But I just use it to reply. I try and drive engagement by chatting to people on the community side. So I could be standing in the queue in a store. I'm replying to comments. It don't matter, So I use that for that. I prefer to delve into analytics on a desktop versus a quick glance on that, but just to get really kind of deep dive in, I prefer to do it on a desktop. And Lightroom is absolutely, I love it on the iPhone. It's just phenomenal.
I agree.
So
have you seen that new masking tool with the sky and the subject? It's awesome.
Frighteningly good. It's frighteningly good.
Yeah, incredibly accurate. It's frighteningly good, as you say. So you've always had iPhones. That answers that question. Well, that answers pretty much everything, mate. We'll go and have a look at these photos.
All right, see you later. I'm having another drink.
Yeah. Let me just open this up. I will. I really will.
We all have faith in you, Shane.
God, I don't.
The rest of us do, though.
Well, that's what matters.
Where's the person narrative saying TikTok? You might throw in a few TikToks in there while we're waiting.
Yeah, that's Scott
No
Baker.
Pressure.
He's what I like to call a smart ass. So these are for everyone else. Whenever somebody comes on here, I say just send me a handful of photos and we'll have a chat about them. The only real rules around it, if you like, is that they've got to be taken with a small sensor camera. so a phone or an action camera or something like that. And Vic sent me, basically a whole download file, and I just picked out 3, I think, random ones. So tell us about this photo, mate.
Alrighty, so this photo was on a bit of downtime. I was in a commercial shoot with the Special Olympics World Games for a testimonial for Teamwork, which is the company I work with in the real world. And once we finished the shoot in Abu Dhabi, we decided to go on dune bashing, as you do when you're in that neck of the woods. There's all these kind of dune bashing tours that put you into a 4x4, drive like absolute lunatics, and you just hold on and hope that you don't end up coming through the windscreen or you puke your guts up. Yep. And there was these 2 girls that were with us, no idea who they were, and they just went, everybody, you stop at a point and everybody kind of went their own way, and I just snapped that shot. It's like pure, this is for the gram. And I thought it kind of just symbolized everything. And of course the light in the desert is great. Quick edit in Lightroom. So that's that story out in the desert, somewhere between Abu Dhabi and Dubai. So yeah, I just got lucky with it. It's not like I said, you girls, you climb up on that big mountain of sand. But yeah.
So what did you take this with?
That was taken with the iPhone 11 Pro.
Yeah, very good. Let's go to another one, maybe. Here we go.
Okay.
Tell us about this one.
This was in a rainy Times Square, which I detest Times Square with a passion. But again, from another commercial testimonial shoot, we were out with a company called Dario. If you're a musician, you probably know who Dario is. They're the gigantic manufacturer of musical instruments like guitar strings and stuff. So we had a little bit of time. So we did to just New York City, because they were based just outside New York City. And this was in the middle of Times Square. If I recall, I think that was an iPhone 10, it might have been. I just literally got lucky with the guy going across, because you're standing literally in the middle of the street. And it just worked. I think for anyone that's ever taken photographs, you might agree that if something is wet, if the ground is wet in any capacity, it adds that extra production value. And it like, if I would have loved to get lower down on that particular shot, but to me that kind of symbolizes everything that Times Square is, and the rain, everything just kind of worked in it. So that was iPhone 10. Quick edit in Lightroom. I'm one of these people that's on the side of the street editing, because I really get a good shot of serotonin from seeing the finished look.
I agree.
So
I wholeheartedly agree. Interestingly enough, so this is a 10, you say, iPhone 10?
I'm pretty sure. I'm not 100. It's either the 10 or the 11. I reckon it's the 10 though.
The absence of lens flare in this photo is interesting. It's with the 12 and the 13, the lens flare in darker situations with light is just bloody horrible. This there's virtually nothing there. Actually, there's nothing there. The lights that I can see in the top, I think, is just rain. Those little lines in the top. There's no like refractive lens flare. That's pretty cool. We'll go to the next one. This one's actually my favorite one that you sent.
Okay, so this I was with my wife in Amsterdam. This was done on the iPhone 11 Pro. We were in Amsterdam for 2 years ago, before the world went crazy. And hanging on to one at the back of those really touristy, let's go see the canals at night, which, you think this is going to be cheesy, but, for a couple of Irish people, try not to drink. It was amazing. And I played to the stereotype too much. Don't get me going on the sheep. I saw somebody from New Zealand there earlier on, so I'm not going to get into that. But yeah, so that was on one of the canals in Amsterdam. And I think for me, again, water adds an awful lot to a photograph. So we've got the reflections. Quick edit in Lightroom was able to kind of bring out the colors a little bit more, make it a little bit more vibrant. And there's a good level of contrast in it. And we've got that little bit of motion as well. So yeah, I really like that photo. Everything about it, the composition, the light, everything. For a phone that's at least a couple of years old,
for an iPhone that's at least a couple of years old. That's a ripper photo.
Thanks, mate.
I had a feeling it was Amsterdam. It's what did you go to Amsterdam for? In Australia, we only know Amsterdam for one thing.
The architecture. No, honestly, my wife wanted to go there. We went there. We didn't do. Honestly, we didn't do anything dodgy. Granted, the hotel we stayed in was like one of these boutique hotels, but it was down like this really narrow corridor. So as soon as we got off the plane, onto the train into Amsterdam, I was like, we're going on this really kind of dingy car. I'm like, we're going to be murdered. It genuinely looked like something out of a horror movie. I was fine though. So we just had a couple of days there. I was good. It was good.
Did you just say murdered?
Yeah, more, something like that. Yeah. Don't get me going. What
was that movie? It was not Shaun of the Dead. It was not Shaun of the Dead. It was I can't think of what it was. It was like this the same guy from Shaun of the Dead. And he did this other movie where he was like a copper that went to like this small town village.
Oh, Hot Fuzz.
Hot Fuzz. And that's how they was murdered. That's what you just reminded me of.
Amsterdam was great. You know, you can't not but go and look at the places that you hear about. But I seen somebody there kind of make a comment. Like, I would agree. We travel outside of Amsterdam to a place called Haarlem or Haarlem. Different vibe, you know. Like, I'm sure some people are like, oh, but there's weed everywhere, and there is, and the smell of weed gets boring. It gets annoying after a while because it's everywhere, as it's legal. But nice city, good vibes there. But definitely, if I was going back I would go elsewhere. You know, I'd maybe fly to Amsterdam and go somewhere else. But I enjoyed there. It was good.
Yep, cool. I don't know if you know. Thought I'd bring some star power to the chat. I don't know if you know who that is.
I have no clue who David Addison is.
No, nor do I.
Sorry, Dave.
David's he's another YouTuber. He does iPhone stuff, and he's actually been on this show with me before. And we were joking about, don't people know who I am when you go places and you're waiting for something to arrive, and they're like, why is it taking so long? Don't they know who I am? So that's why I said I don't know who that is.
Yeah, when I was on the radio for 10 or 11 years, it's not that I ever used that "don't you know who I am," but because it was a nighttime talk show, if we were at like a wedding or something, people would go up to my wife and they would go, "I went to bed with your husband last night," and she's like, "What?" I went to bed with your husband last night, so people would go to bed, listen to the radio, to the talk show. She'd be looking at what the f is going on here, and she's like, "Oh, I went to bed with your husband last night. He put me to sleep." I just talk people to sleep. But
that's gold. Yeah. Well, we better have a look at some things here. What have we got going on here? But you in this life for the next for the so this I can't even say. So Petrika is, where's he from? Is he Romanian? I can't remember. No, he's from Belgium, I think, but maybe he's Romanian living in Belgium or some bloody thing. Actually, he's been on this show as well. It's David Addison.
Is there anybody who hasn't been on this show?
That fellow from Wales.
Hey, David.
David? How do you say it? David?
David, I guess. David from the valleys.
Yeah, there's certainly a few people on here that haven't been on the show. Well, I like to bring on a mixture of people from the community that we have and people who like to show what they are doing, sort of thing. So I'll show you this in a second. In the Facebook group, there's some pretty bloody impressive photographers in there. So I like to bring them on here and basically just scare them a bit with going live in front of people all over the world. But generally, it's a lot of good fun. And then I bring on other, like yourself, other creators that can bring something to the community as well. Greg McMillan, it's about time. It started early today. It didn't start early today. Same time every single fortnight, Greg McMillan. who has also been on this show.
You should know the drill, Greg.
Yeah, you should. Shano, looking trim. Not on purpose. It's just an accident, if it is the case. So I'll just pull up my notes because there actually was stuff that I wanted to ask you about.
Sure, go for it, dude. I can stay here all day.
Oh, so you do a lot of reviewing. Well, for those who don't know who you actually are, as far as YouTube goes, tell people about what you do on your channel.
Predominantly, there's a lot of camera stuff on the channel. There's editing, as in how to edit, that kind of thing, because I work as a commercial editor. So I talk about cameras, how to get people up and to help them to use them, because as we know, nobody reads the manuals. People watch YouTube videos, so we'll say stuff like the Sony ZV-1 or settings, and I try and approach them as, like, not this highfalutin elitist, well, you have to be, none of that. It's just like your mates down the pub or wherever. How do you use that? This is how you. So I try and adopt a very straightforward approach to how to use a camera and the various techniques, whether it's long exposure, motion blur, if you're looking at that magical cinematic 1/50 for shutter speeds. So I kind of do it that way, and same with any kind of tutorials, whether it's After Effects or Premiere Pro or whatever. I try and just approach it that you can watch it and hopefully stay till the end of the video for the YouTube algorithm, but that people will actually go, I understand that. And that's the most important thing, because I think we've all seen YouTube tutorials that spend 8 minutes talking about their day, then they don't explain it properly. It's like they've ripped it off from somebody else, don't really have any conviction about what they're saying, and you're kind of none the wiser. And as you said, Shane, we're all busy people, but like, time is precious, because there's like 3 billion hours of TikTok to scroll through every hour. That made no sense, by the way.
I know what you meant.
People's time is valuable, so I'll try and help people along that way. So so that's kind of what the YouTube channel is.
Yeah, it's one of the. There's a few things. When I've really got to fix that light. There's like a little gap in the blinds right there, and you can see it coming down because the sun's just coming up out there, and that's going to bother me now that we're out of winter and we're almost into summer. I'm really going to fix that. When I started watching your stuff, it was before I started my channel, and before, as I was watching all these other photographers on YouTube, and I was thinking I was going to do stuff with my phone, and I was thinking I was going to do stuff low light with my phone. I started watching YouTubers who are photographers, and we're talking about people like Peter McKinnon and stuff. And I know you're a Peter McKinnon fan. Actually, I reckon you're even wearing his jewelry.
I don't proper showcase on. Yeah,
sort it out.
Anyway, I have a Peter McKinnon ring on.
Yeah, so it's I look at like that, and I go, I'm no Peter McKinnon, and then you look at other people who are doing phone photography stuff, like who have been doing it for some time, and they're generally like young, buff-looking guys out on islands in Pacific Islands somewhere doing some really cool, funky things, or in the streets of Tokyo. And I go, that's not me. I live in the middle of freaking nowhere, and I'm like a middle-aged bloke. It's just me. I am who I am. And I come across your channel, and I thought, this bloke's doing shit right, I thought. And I thought, contrary to popular belief, you're not some young buff bloke out on the Pacific Islands, you're just you.
What are you trying to say, dude?
No, I'm pretty sure I said.
Thank you.
But it's and I said this to actually I said it to David Addison as well. I said because one of the things that I've learned from you, and you don't actually go into too much detail about what you do on YouTube, but other creators watch what you do, or watch other creators do what they do, and you can kind of work out if they're full of shit or not. And I think with you, it's a genuine article. Like what you see on your YouTube stuff is who you are. And I think that's probably the thing that I got from you the most, as in this guy's successful doing what he's doing, and he certainly seems to be genuine in what he's doing. So I thought, well, who cares if I'm not this young buff bloke on the Pacific Island somewhere? Just be yourself, be who you are, and you don't have to be appealing to everybody in the market. You've just got to be appealing enough to people who want to learn what you're teaching them how to do and be genuine about it. So I think besides the techie stuff, that's what I got from you. And it was something like, just start bloody doing it. And well, it's been good. It's worked. Yeah.
I think that's come from 11 years of talking BS on the radio. People do see through BS very quickly. In my first year or two, I learned that really fast on the radio, that people know that no, you don't have this amazing life, or no, you didn't say that, or you're just playing up. And you can think what you want to folks, and there's some folks out there who ain't as bright as others, but everybody can smell BS. If there's something projected in front of them, whether it's on YouTube or radio or TV, you're like, this guy is full of it. It's just that inbuilt kind of BS radar that we have. And I just learned to be authentic and have some bit of integrity about it. And that's where it's come from. I have nothing to gain by BSing anybody. Latest video, small rig send me free stuff. I say it's rubbish. That's my small rig, but hopefully not, by the way. But yeah, there is no point, you gotta be honest, really, because otherwise you're playing a game that you'll never win.
Absolutely. I think with the small rig stuff, that they would know, like what you've uncovered there. I promise they know it's a problem.
Oh,
yeah. It's and they're not. As soon as they've seen that this is a problem, they knew that videos like yours was going to come out. Like it's encouraging that you don't pull the punches. That this is a problem, and I think that gives you. It's almost like a third party level of integrity. So you say, this is how it is. And as I was saying to you at the beginning, before, I think it was before we went live, I've got gear here that I've just not shot videos on because they've sent it to me and it's just not at a good standard. And they've sent it to me for free. So I feel a little bit, do I do a video with it or not? Because it's going to be, this is shit. I'll go back to those companies and say, it doesn't perform the way you said it was going to, or this doesn't do what I expected it to do. It's not good enough. Do you want me to do a video about it or not? And for the most part, they don't even come back to me. So I've just got gear sitting there that's probably never going to see the light of day.
I remember, like, kind of in the earlier days of YouTube, I just went back to the gym at some point, and I was looking for headphones, and I made this video, and all of a sudden, all of these manufacturers that I'd never heard of were sending me free headphones. And one of them came, it was amazing. I can't even remember the name of the company. The box, it was like the Rolls Royce of unboxing. The headphones were absolute just crap. I remember going, I'm going to release this video, and this was a couple of years ago, and I'm like, but they're going to stop sending you free stuff. And I'm like, doesn't matter, and I put it out, and I sent them, like, on any of my product agreement, I don't want anybody to have final say on it. So if they'd seen it, they say, oh, can you take that out? I'd be like, no, because I'm losing my integrity. And they came back, and I got the email, and I'm like, oh, I don't want to open this email. And the video was gone live and everything. They were like, actually, you know what? Thank you for those points. We appreciate the honesty. We'll try harder. I never heard from them again, but
doesn't matter. It
doesn't matter. Now, you can, to be fair, saying you can go overboard on knocking something just for the sake of it. If something is bad, it's bad. We don't need to harp on about it either, just
absolutely
authentic,
Yeah, absolutely. I did a video on this. When did I launch that? I launched it this morning on this little action camera. It's a Cam Park. There we go. It was a V40, I think it is. This is a 4K 30 frames a second. It doesn't go to 60 until it's like 1 or 1080p. But it's like the stuff that you get for that. Like when they asked me to do it, And I was like, I was doing action cams a bit in the beginning. It's certainly more mobile centric now. In the video, it's probably the most enjoyable video I've done for ages because I've got to ride my bike in it. But it's something that was the amount of gear, because I've done GoPro stuff. Actually, I watched even a lot of your GoPro stuff before I went and got GoPros to do it. And I was watching all the overheating issues and stuff that was apparent with the GoPros. And anyway, I said, yeah, by all means, send it. And the box came, and the amount of stuff that comes with these more budget action cameras, like this one in particular, it had that many mounts. It had, it's got like that's waterproof itself. I think it's like 10 meters or 15 meters, something like that. But then it came with another, like, that
case.
And that will take you to like I don't know, 80 meters or some bloody thing. But the amount of mounts, strap mounts, 2 batteries, charger, lavalier mic, a little remote that goes around your wrist, to all these things that GoPros and so forth would charge you a lot more. It's $109, and he sent me the company, they sent me a discount code for 20% off. It was like under $100 to get that. It's pretty hard to compete with that. It's not GoPro 10 quality, and it's probably not GoPro 9 quality. It's certainly around about the 8, though, I would say, with what I was getting out of it, like where I would mount this on my bike and where I would mount my 8 on the bike. The quality I'm getting is pretty well the same. But for under $100, bloody hell, I don't know how they make money out of doing that. It's just because it's a good bit of kit. And I've got other stuff. I've got a lens sitting there for a phone that works incredibly well during daylight, perfect lighting, but as soon as it comes nighttime, it just doesn't focus. And that's a product that's still sitting on the shelf, and I can't promote it to anybody because it doesn't do what I would want it to do. And no one would expect it to be a problem like that. So I went back to them and said, this is a problem, and I'm not going to do a video until you come and find a solution for that. So anyway, Greg McMillan, he is way older. I don't know. How old are you, Vic?
I'm 45. Am I 45?
45? That's a
45,
lot of
46
for a 45-year-old. Jeez, you're basically my age. Oh my God.
I thought the personal questions were going to go halfway, not a few drinks, but anyway.
I think Greg McMillan's about he'd be about 72. Not really.
71, Greg, we know.
This is absolutely on point. Like, if you go into bullshit everybody, you'll lose credibility pretty quickly.
You need a soundboard with a room shot. That's a good one, David Addison.
Oh, that's hilarious. What else we got here? Pardon my ignorance, but if cinematic footage is 24 frames a second, why is everyone so keen to get a cam that shoots at 60 frames a second? Do you want to field that?
Yeah, sure. So cinematic, look, on the word cinematic, let's get something very straight here. Cinematic look is one thing. That's this 1/50, which is the 24p, which is really important. But cinema is all about telling stories. Cinematic needs a story, right? So the 60 frames per second allows people to slow things down in post. So in the edits on a timeline that's 24p, you can slow 60p down about 40%, and the slow motion is perfectly smooth. It's not juddery or anything like that. And I don't know, like, what people think of him on your side of the world, Shane. And I know there's one or two folks from New Zealand there as well. Peter Jackson pioneered 48 frames per second in The Hobbit. In that series, and a lot of people couldn't take to it because it's kind of that soap opera effect. So 60 frames per second is very easily identifiable, but for me and for a lot of people, it's a nice feature to have, especially in 4K, because you can crop in without losing detail, and you can slow the footage down to like 30-40% depending on the time that you're working in, and it looks buttery smooth.
Yeah, absolutely. Couldn't have answered that better. I wouldn't have answered that any better than myself, actually. Dave, I'm pretty sure Dave is a cuzzy bro from New Zealand. I'm pretty sure. I think it was him in the beginning. It is Kia ora. He's a Kiwi himself. So he's from the land of the long white cloud, where Peter Jackson filmed some of this stuff. Eh?
Sweet.
Greg Green. Bloody hell! I don't think you've ever watched this stuff before, Greenie. Greenie's a veteran mate of mine. David, they never sent it to him and never knew. Hold on, I don't know where that was. I think this might be coming back to the whole Bible pre-order thing.
Oh, okay.
Jeez, you guys. Yeah. So you've got a few action cameras going on, right?
Yeah, so there's a GoPro 10. There's the DJI Action 2 Insta 360 sent the go-to, which is again, it's fine. I gotta say, I do prefer right now. I do prefer the DJI Action 2 over the GoPro 10. I think just the image quality, it's probably not as good, but it just looks that little better directly on the camera. And I think, right, and I know GoPro have defined the action camera genre. You know, if you went to somebody, I want an action camera, somebody's going to reply like what, a GoPro? So, and I love what they've done with the brand, but I think like the 10th iteration or whatever it is now, it's getting a bit dated. It's the same stuff. There's nothing really new there. They're trying to squeeze more into the same body. Like the Action 2 it's a fine camera. Here's my recent video there. This is living in here forever. But it's just something a little bit different. And you know, I just think it's not amazingly intuitive or anything like that, but it's just something else that just changes the flow of what's going on. The GoPro stuff is the same thing. You know, it's 5K, fine. And to be honest, unless you're in really good light, GoPros start to struggle. And the footage isn't great. Like some of the GoPro ads and stuff they put out around launch time is phenomenal. But most folks will never achieve that for one reason or another. So they do a good job of selling the camera, but for me, I think they're starting to age and not well. But that's just me.
It's interesting. I was listening to the very first comment that you made. Then I thought you could say exactly the same thing about the iPhones. And as you went through all of that, exactly the same thing could be said about the iPhones. It's looked pretty well the same forever. They haven't really changed that much. Like you've got some better tech in there that obviously you can do some better computational stuff, and the same with the GoPros. Like they're getting a little bit better, but is it enough to lay down an extra, that much money every other year for the next generation of GoPro? And the same thing could be said about the iPhones. And when you said then their commercials when they launched all this, their launch videos and stuff, exactly the same thing could be said about the iPhones, especially around that cinematic mode. It's like their videos on their launch was the most perfect scenario that you could possibly have to demonstrate that. And as soon as you pull it out into the real world, you go, "Oh, this is not good."
Put it away. You know what? That is a fair point, but I think right. iPhones, the tech has obviously the body really hasn't changed. If you look at the camera system has, right? But I think the tech has really changed. GoPro have only just gone to the GP2 chip. And even then it's a little bit snappier. But like the GoPro 10 is operating like a GoPro 7 should have operated from a technology perspective and from like efficiency and for speed and responsiveness. It is a fair point, but I think the tech has on the iPhone has really just to kind of fight you to the death over that point. I think it's just evolved a lot more. Not to take away what GoPro are doing, but they're not doing enough. Cinematic mode, it's cheesy. Nobody would probably ever use it, but from the tech that's in the iPhone that's doing it, GoPro haven't made that leap. 5K 30 to 5K 60,
I'd agree.
And what's next? The next GoPro, will it be 6K? Will it be 8K? And how many people will have a need for it? And at that level, you really want to be making stuff that's going on a gigantic screen, and the sensors just don't have that capability.
Yeah, absolutely. When I was talking to, who was I talking to? was my wife yesterday morning, actually, when we were walking the dog.
She's going to be so thrilled when she hears that. Who was I talking to?
It was a conversation that I had, and I'm thinking it was kind of almost, it wasn't techie, but it was kind of, I don't know. I was talking about that little action camera, and she said, is it better than the GoPros? I'm like, no, but it's perfect for someone who, like my very first GoPro that I ever bought was when I went skiing in Japan, and I wanted a GoPro just to capture that trip. And I got a heap of footage, looked at it twice, and the GoPro lived in a drawer pretty much until I started this channel. Actually, no, it was until I went up to the Whitsundays and went snorkeling and stuff on the reef. And then I bought another one because the one that I bought years prior wasn't waterproof. You need to buy other crap for it and so forth. And then I bought one up in the Whitsundays to go snorkeling, took a heap of footage underwater and stuff. It was really cool. And then it lived in a drawer until I started my YouTube channel. And I thought, this is the perfect sort of camera for someone that applies to. Someone who goes, I'm going to go on this trip and I'm probably not going to use it again, but I want to be able to capture that first person sort of view, you know, the point of view.
It's kind of like, I guess,
video.
like a dad cam.
Dad
cam, I think, is,
yeah.
You know, and nothing wrong with that, you know. Not everybody wants to be making epics, you know.
Absolutely, yeah. So I think it's a perfect fit for that. Like, why go and spend $600-700 on the GoPro to take footage from that one trip just to put it in your drawer, and next time you pull it out, it's going to be 7 generations later. So to me, that just makes sense that you would go down that path. We should probably look at these comments because it would seem that they're really taking the piss. So Greg McMillan is quite the macro guy. Macro McMillan, you could say. So Greg McMillan he hosts he's one of the hosts on the iPhoneography podcast, and he's quite the macro photographer with his iPhone. He's quite clever. He's quite talented with macro stuff. So it's because he can't see anymore. It's like this little bickering bitch session going on the side here. Cinematic mode is amazing. It's not amazing, Devo. It's not amazing. It's really bad. Why are you saying? You're taking the piss. I just realised that you're taking the piss. Look at this. Good looking bloke, right here. Good looking. What could I say?
I've nothing to say to that, really, to be honest. But,
I was late today because I was shooting photos for the book. Looking forward to that, Greg. Looking forward to it. The Galactic Core video. Here we go. iPhone 13 was... okay, cool. Yep. It's... Well, to get the Galactic Core out of an iPhone now, I think the 11, they kind of put their toe in the water. 12, they got it going really well. And 13, they've nailed it. It works really, really well. Dad cam. That's awesome. Very good. Give us, because there's actually quite a few in this chat here of people who have their own YouTube channel. Let's say three tips that you would give someone who has a YouTube channel. Because how long have you been going for? I don't know.
6 years. 6 years.
6 years. Yep.
Yeah, it feels like 60. That's why I've got a lot of gray. Okay, three tips, right? So, number one is don't give up. Okay, number one is don't give up. No matter what, don't. Just under that, don't give up umbrella means keep uploading. If you have a video that tanks, you know, if you get 5 views, if the next video you get 10 views, then that's 5 views more than the last one. Not everybody starts, you know, at 1 million. We all start with 0. Take inspiration from somebody that you admire on YouTube, like Shane, or whoever, me maybe. But there has to become a point where you kind of stop that inspiration and you get going. I was completely enamored with Casey Neistat, and I thought I could be like Casey. And the start of my videos, there was time lapses, no story, nothing, right? So that is number one. Don't give up, okay? Like
wholeheartedly
the other, just don't give up. You know, like there will be a time come where you're like, you know what, this isn't for me. And the most important thing with don't give up is if it all starts stressing you out, if your mental health takes a dive because of this, whether it's comments or whatever, or numbers, then it is time to step away because they're only videos. Okay.
Yeah.
They are only videos. You know, like I came from a radio background, so I was used to people hating me. So I've got a kind of a thick skin, but not everybody does. And it's completely okay to just go, F this, I'm stepping away from it. But don't give up because you think you can't do it. Everybody starts at zero. So like this is kind of, that's tip one really is that. Number two, you know, you really have to do the work. Okay. That means knowing your camera. That means knowing how to edit, and editing is so I cannot say this, editing is so important. When you're starting out, cut everything to within an inch of its life. If you've got a video that's 10 minutes, see, can you make it 5 minutes? You know, if you've got a video that's 3 minutes, can you make it 1 minute? Keep like the more you do anything, you just get better at it. But edit constantly. It's so important. And depending on the platform that you're on, if you're a video creator, Facebook, you need a different edit for Facebook than you do for YouTube, simply because Facebook folks are constantly scrolling through and they don't give you as much attention as somebody that might on YouTube. So you've got to do all of that work, right? And that you're a producer, you're a director, you're a writer, you're a sound guy, you're a colorist, you're an edit, you're all of this stuff.
You're the star too.
And that's the other thing, okay? So you've got to do the work, absolutely. And that leads me on to the other tip as well. And this is more important than anything. And if you've been watching any of my videos for a while, you know what I'm going to say. But story is super important. And it doesn't have to be a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away or once upon a time. It has to have a proper beginning, middle, and end. And once you nail that down, you can start getting clever with it, and you know, you can have a tutorial in a story format. You know, you can have anything. You can make a story out of anything. Read a book like Long Story Short. Write your stuff down. Don't ever wing it, right? When it comes to the story side of it, have the vision in your head. If you're shooting something out and about, write down a few shots. You know, if it's a talking head thing, a lot of talking head stuff will need B-roll. Do your talking head stuff, and just go through and go, I need B-roll, write it all down, you know? So that's kind of hugely important. And I just want to jump back to the editing thing there, Shane, really quickly, right? And here's a great exercise for somebody that's editing talking head stuff or any type of stuff. Edit it without the audio as a practice. So you should be able to go, you know, like a drummer will be like tick, 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 boom, tick. You need to be able to pace out your video in that way. So you should eventually get the feeling this is on for too long. You can't hear what's being said, but you're like, oh, this is on too long. You know, if you feel it's on screen, like if you feel you're on screen for too long, I guarantee you the audience thinks you're there 6 months too long. So it's quite an advanced tip, but at the same time, even when it comes to editing B-roll, you should be like, oh, okay. So you're like, oh, no, it should be on, you know. So yeah, like that's an interesting one. Edit with no audio. Once you get used to it, because it's a good thing to help you with pacing, but obviously story is the driver of pace. So I think hopefully those kind of 3.5 tips should help folks in some case. But don't give up.
Yeah. The editing tip is absolutely on point. When I go through it, I'll look at my timeline. I use Final Cut Pro, and they're all the same as far as this particular point goes. I'll go and look at all my A-roll, and I'll zoom right out of it, and so I can see the whole project in like one screen. And if I look at it and I go, there's too much of a gap there, I'm just jibber jabbering about shit. I need to cut it out or put something there to maintain something changing all the time. So when I first started doing this, I'd go, oh, that's a ripper video and it's 20 minutes long, and I'll watch it now and I'll go, my God, shut up and get to the point. That's how it is now. And now I cut and cull like I'm ruthless with it now. I think it's kind of important.
Totally. There, like from the editing perspective, there's an old Hollywood thing that like the scene changes every 9 seconds. Now the scene doesn't have to change drastically every 9 seconds, but it could be a cropping, it could be whatever, because people are like goldfish. The brain needs to be reset like every kind of 9-10 seconds. So if you the next Hollywood movie you see, and obviously there's exceptions apply here, but the next movie that you look at, count how long each scene is, and I guarantee you, come the 7 to 10 second mark, it's going to change in some way to keep you engaged.
You
know, and this stuff isn't hard. This stuff is just put in the reps, but keep learning. You know, you should never stop learning. You know.
100% agree. It's one of these things that because I'll do 2 videos every single week, it's something that all 3. It's something that's I'm always thinking about, can I make a video out of that? Can I make a video out of that? And it's always having that I've got a whiteboard here full of video ideas that I just research and do those, but it's keeping that, maintaining that consistency, not giving up, just keep doing it. And you never know what's going to blow up and what's not. Sometimes I'll do a video and go, that's awesome, it's going to get so many views. Just tanks. And then other videos you go, that was just shit, it doesn't look good at all, and it just blows up. So you never know what's going to go and work for you, so just keep doing it.
So like one thing there, Shane, as well, and I'm happy to answer questions, but just another tip for folks here, right? And I've only started doing this recently, and that's just write stuff down. Vic, come on, you should know better. Right? Don't type it, write it. Simply because you know, I used to write tons of notes on my phone or on an iPad. I'd be like, you know, Google Docs or whatever. And I'm like, And I found once I started writing it into a notebook, it just flowed a lot more. I found typing stuff was very stiff. I think you can, and don't even use like the Apple Pencil or stylus. Actually, pen and paper. You know, I've seen a couple of creators over the last year or so talk about this, and I'm like, they're full of crap. That's not efficient. I'm not going back to that old antiquated paper and pen papyrus. What am I? You know, old. And as soon as I did,
stone and
and as soon as I did, I just found ideas flowed so much better, so much easier. You know, and look, it might be not for everybody, but I would suggest, for the next video or the next thing that you're creating, try it out. Just try it out, see how it works. Because I just found, because when you're typing stuff, you're concentrating on the typing. Because let's face it, unless you're a touch typist, most of us are just like, you know, typing with our elbows and our fists. And then they can be a notification, it can be a distraction. It's too easy to flick over and open another tab. So write stuff down, try it out. I think it just frees the mind that little bit more. And I found it so useful.
That's a really good point. Of taking the technology out of it and just letting you raw creativity. That makes sense, mate. That makes sense. There's a lot of talk here at the moment with the within the chat about the dislikes being taken out, and as in not viewable. I think it's only not viewable for the audience. I'm quite sure that we still see it. So someone here has written, do you read the comments on Facebook when you're live? They all, the platform that I'm using here, it turns up in there as well.
Sweet.
So I just can't see who wrote that one in particular. But what are your thoughts about the dislike button not showing the count?
You know what? There is always like the argument that's been presented online as you can quickly know if a video is bad or not. You know, but by looking at the amount of dislikes. Personally, for me, I never look at how many likes or dislikes someone else's video has got. But I see that side of it. I don't think it's the be all to end all. YouTube absolutely is a numbers game. Do we need to know all the numbers from an audience perspective? Nope. There is nothing stopping me and Shane and everybody that's in this call go like, you know, a dislike bomb on a video right now. And yeah, you know, it's too flawed. I'm kind of indifferent to it, Shane, because I understand both sides of it. But for me and the stuff that I watch, I never look at the dislike button or the like button. You know,
for me, when I look at my own stuff, I reckon it took probably 6 months before I even looked at that, because I use TubeBuddy, and that's kind of my go-to tool for seeing how things are performing. And it shows you how many likes that you get. I don't think it shows you how many dislikes you get. And then I stumbled across it one time when I was looking at the analytics on YouTube Studio, and I went, you know, I've got like 3,000 likes here. I've got 50 dislikes. What the hell? What's wrong with people? And then it was kind of like that 50 people versus those thousands. It doesn't matter. Like, that's just someone who's just got the shits with the world anyway. So who cares? I think as far as the YouTube analytics go, and the algorithm, I should say, it's an interaction, whether it's a like or a dislike or a comment.
It's engagement, totally. So
yeah,
dislike all you want. So, it's good.
Yeah. So that's what I used to think. And I did a video with that same train of thought. I did the very first video I did with the S21, the Samsung S21 Ultra, and personally, here we go. This is where we're going. Personally, I don't like how the phone looks. I think the way that the camera bezel and stuff, they're all kind of offset. It looks like it's almost a mistake. And I said it was ugly. And and the people that responded to that in a negative way, that video just blew up, because so many people were saying, "It's not bloody ugly. What's wrong with you? You bloody iPhone user," all this sort of business. And that's probably my biggest rating video I've ever had, because people were disagreeing with me. So when it comes to the dislike thing, I think it's the same sort of thing. But actually seeing the numbers, I don't think it's relevant. I think when you're looking for a video and you want to know how to do something, I want to know how to, unblock my toilet. If I search in YouTube to how to unblock my toilet, and there might be 30 videos there, it's a simple, it's not necessarily a simple task, because you're looking how to find out how to do it. But if there's a video there that's 20 minutes long and there's a video there that's 2.5 minutes long, you're going to watch the one that's 2.5 minutes long, because you just want to know how to do something. Who cares how many dislikes or likes it has? You want to know how to do something. That's the one you're going to watch. The dislike thing, personally, I've got no issue with it taking the numbers away. It doesn't bother me at all.
Totally. And I think, on blocking the toilet, I might need the 21-minute video. But that aside, everybody's different, right? But you should you shouldn't need a button to tell you that something is bad. You should be able to make up your own mind about the whole thing. You should know within the first 60 seconds of the video, this ain't going to do me. Next video,
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, totally agree. This is a very, very, very valid point. Yep. Get rid of the dislike button. Yep, absolutely agree. I think at the moment, well, probably in the last couple of years, at least in this world, there's enough things there to piss people off and get people on their soapbox and say they hate X, Y, Z about the world. Get rid of the damn thing. I'm okay with it if you got rid of it. In that toilet video has more dislikes than likes. It's probably just clickbait or just not relevant. Absolutely. This is me. I don't think there's any
clickbait videos about unblocking toilets, Steve-O. I might be wrong, but I get it. It's a fair point, but yeah.
Love your videos. What is this video about? Love your video. Just Judy. Love your videos. What is this? This is just live. If you haven't been on one of my live, we're unblocking toilets here with iPhones. We are at the point in the live stream where we just start talking shit. I'm just looking through these these comments here. I feel like YouTube is much more like other platforms that compare themselves to likings. Yeah, it's it is. I think it's a lot more than other platforms. It's not. People talk about social media and stuff, and I go, is it social media? Not really. It's just a search engine for videos. I think that's how I look at it. That's how I treat it. And the social media aspect of it, I take off platform for the most part. Like, you've got your channel that you can put comments and post there, but not too much really. Mental health of creators, what a joke. Nobody wants an honest feedback anymore. It's just another way of not keeping score. No one gets his feelings hurt. This is coming from the guy who gets banned on Facebook when he says, within days of him getting access again. Good on you, Patrica. You want to go to Facebook jail again. He's always in Facebook jail, this guy. He has no filter, which is very, I appreciate that, but many people don't. Oh, we haven't talked about cricket enough yet. Do you even play cricket in Ireland? I know you've got a team.
Well, we do actually. I think they were quite good at some point. I have no idea, man.
Yeah.
I have no idea about cricket. Sorry.
No. I used to watch cricket back when, like, Steve Waugh and
Ian Botham and all those guys.
Taylor. Say again?
Ian Botham, he was a cricket player, isn't he?
Ian Botham, yeah, he's an English guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, from over your neck of the woods. When those guys are playing.
Hang on a second now. Let's not like turn this whole thing on its head. Your neck of the woods. We're not England. We're not oppressed anymore.
Potato. It's the same thing, isn't it?
Balaclava.
Oh dear. I've actually got an Irish friend who lives up in Queensland here, and I do that to him all the time, and he riles up. It's pretty funny. He's actually still in Facebook jail. You're always in Facebook jail. Oh dear. I reckon that's long enough, mate. I think we've jibber-jabbered long enough. What didn't he get banned for? He's always getting banned because someone will say something and he'll just take his filter and off entirely, type away, hit enter, and then go, oh, that's going to upset someone. And off he goes to jail. That's the world that we live in. All right. I reckon that's enough for today, man. It's been awesome having you on. Really good to catch up and finally get to meet you. And thanks, everybody, for watching. And say, bloody hell. That'll do it. These days, that'll do it. All right, man. Thanks, everyone. I'll see you in... Yeah, absolutely. I'll see everyone else here in 2 weeks. And I'll see you then. Catch you later, guys. Cheers, buddy.
See ya. Thanks, Shane.